At 5:22 before sunrise, a Chinese patrol ship fired a 76mm naval gun toward USS Gravely, a United States Navy destroyer operating in the Taiwan Strait. The shells streaked across open water in international seas, where American naval operations are legally authorized. This was not a symbolic warning shot. Direct live fire between China and the United States has been extremely uncommon, despite years of political tension. What followed reshaped the encounter entirely. Subscribe now, because the way this confrontation ended surprised everyone watching. Electronic warfare takes over. When the first shell struck the water near USS Gravely, the response was not muzzle flashes or counterfire, but a subtle transition inside the ship's combat systems. The destroyer did not immediately aim weapons at the China vessel, and no shots were returned in those initial moments. Instead, the ship entered a different phase of combat, one invisible to the naked eye and impossible to film. This was electronic warfare, executed calmly and intentionally, meant to control escalation without triggering an outright exchange of fire. Inside the Combat Information Center, attention shifted from hulls to signals. The Chinese patrol craft depended on fire control radar to aim its 76mm gun and relied on satellite navigation to maintain position while maneuvering. USS Gravely began disrupting both systems simultaneously. The patrol boat's radar emissions were detected, classified, and gradually manipulated. Range data drifted. Bearings stopped aligning with reality. The targeting picture feeding the Chinese gun crew began to blur and fracture. Drone swarm meets laser defense. The transition from signal disruption to aerial pressure happened abruptly when small objects lifted into the air from the Chinese side. These were not fighters or military aircraft, but commercially derived drones repurposed for confrontation. They were inexpensive, disposable, and intended to probe defenses rather than deliver a decisive strike. Now, this is going to be a controversial topic, and I don't care if YouTube doesn't promote it. I'm going to expose the truth anyways. Controversial topics like this one end up getting suppressed by the algorithm, except when you force the algorithm to promote it by clicking on the like button. The logic behind the drones was simple and dangerous. By pushing multiple low-cost systems toward a modern destroyer, the intent was to overload defenses and compress reaction time. Quantity was supposed to create chaos. As the drones closed in, USS Gravely did not answer with gunfire. Instead, the ship activated a very different kind of weapon, a directed energy system, commonly referred to as a naval laser, came online. Unlike conventional arms, it produces no blast and leaves no wreckage. It concentrates energy onto fragile electronics, quietly disabling guidance systems, sensors, and flight controls. One by one, the drones failed and dropped away, neutralized without spectacle. Tactical repositioning under pressure. When the drone threat ended, the sea did not relax. The absence of noise only sharpened the tension. USS Gravely began to maneuver, not with a sudden turn or aggressive acceleration, but through slow, deliberate adjustments in speed and heading. This was neither withdrawal nor uncertainty. It was calculated movement designed to reshape the geometry of the fight. The destroyer widened the angle between itself and the Chinese patrol vessel. Distance alone was not the objective, geometry was. By shifting position, USS Gravely optimized sensor coverage and weapons alignment while degrading what the opposing crew could track and anticipate. Radar angles changed. Fire control solutions became harder to maintain. Throughout the maneuver, the ship remained inside international shipping lanes, reinforcing the legal clarity of every action taken. 2 missiles change everything. The decisive moment arrived without drama and without hesitation. With the tactical advantage secured, USS Gravely executed its response. 2 SM-2 missiles were launched, not as a display of force, but as a measured action designed to end the encounter on American terms. The launch was brief and clinical. No warning shot, no escalation for spectacle. Seconds later, the missiles struck. The impacts crippled the Chinese patrol vessel, tearing through critical systems and stripping it of the ability to continue aggressive operations. The ship remained afloat, but the confrontation was over. Its weapons were silent, its mobility was compromised. The message was unmistakable. The United States Navy had demonstrated control at every level of escalation, from electronic warfare to directed energy to precision strike. This was not about destruction, it was about dominance. A reminder that modern naval combat is decided long before guns fire, and often without firing them at all. This was no accident. The strike was calibrated to halt the threat, not erase it. After the exchange, the waters grew noticeably calmer. In the hours that followed, the most meaningful shift was not found in scorched hull plating or floating debris, but in quiet directives moving through naval command networks. Chinese authorities issued updated guidance to their fleet, instructing patrol vessels to keep greater separation from United States warships operating in the Taiwan Strait. The order was never announced publicly. Instead, its effects appeared at sea. Patrol routes changed, turns became wider. Close approaches that had become routine simply stopped happening. Ships that once pressed in to test reactions now held their distance, watching rather than provoking. This expanded buffer carried real significance. Where proximity had once been used as a tool of pressure, caution replaced confrontation. The change was soon evident across the operating area. Modern naval power redefined. The encounter in the Taiwan Strait unfolded as a disciplined sequence of escalation, each step tightly controlled. It began with live fire intended to intimidate. It shifted into electronic warfare that quietly seized control of the engagement. It expanded into drone pressure that was neutralized without gunfire. It ended with a limited missile strike that stopped the challenge without sinking the ship. Each phase built deliberately on the one before it, showing how modern naval power is applied through timing, integration, and restraint, rather than brute force alone. What the encounter revealed most clearly was the imbalance in battlefield control. One side leaned on proximity, pressure, and low-cost tools. The other relied on sensors, networks, and the ability to decide precisely when and how force would be used. Control, not aggression, defined the outcome. Looking ahead, this incident suggests future encounters in the Strait may become quieter but more complex. Whether that restraint holds will shape the stability of the region. China now faces a choice: accept the limits exposed by this confrontation, or search for new methods to challenge American naval presence without crossing the same lines. What happened in those early morning hours was more than a tactical exchange. It was a message delivered through steel, signals, and restraint. One that will echo across contested waters far beyond the Taiwan Strait. The next time patrol vessels approach American warships, commanders will remember what disciplined restraint backed by overwhelming capability looks like. If you found this breakdown valuable, subscribe and enable notifications so you do not miss the next analysis. The balance of power at sea is shifting faster than most people realize, and understanding these encounters matters now more than ever.